Hello again. Today I want to talk about the achievements of white culture and white civilization. By that I mean pretty much everything which we have in the world today. The mobile telephone or computer upon which you are watching this, the mains electricity which you use to charge the device, the internet which makes it possible for you to receive my words on it, the satellites which make the internet possible, the telephone cables that carry the internet, fibre optic cables, that sort of thing. Even the glass in your windows which lets you look at the world outside. All these things were invented and produced by European ingenuity and intellectual ability. By this, of course, I mean white civilization. The white culture which sprang up in Europe and then spread to America, where it also flourished and became even more powerful, producing all the things which are so vital to our lives today. The mathematics and science which underpins all this is also a product of European thought. The indigenous inhabitants of Australia did not invent television or radio, and nor did those living in sub-Saharan Africa come up with ideas like calculus or the theory of relativity. The modern world was built by white people, and although Indians and Chinese people have proved very good at copying and developing European inventions, we know that they would never have come up by themselves with the internal combustion engine, cars, aeroplanes, space rockets, or even steam engines. It is, of course, not fashionable to speak in this way and celebrate the achievements of white intellect or white culture, but without it we would still be stuck in the Dark Ages. Casting around the world and looking for important things in our civilization which did not have their origins in the ingenuity of white people, we find ourselves at something of a loss. Did Aboriginal Australians ever think of inventing the wheel? Did any black culture think of this, the simplest of inventions and the beginning of our civilization? Is there any evidence of even the simplest machinery in sub-Saharan Africa before the arrival of white Europeans? I spoke earlier today about the absurd notion of decolonising mathematics and trying to insert black people into the subject. This is a fool's errand because no black mathematicians have come up with original ideas in the subject. The Chinese and Egyptians in ancient times had a rudimentary understanding of things such as calculating pi and so on, but that's about the limit of it. Mathematics, which entails discovering the rules which lie behind the structure of the universe, is a white enterprise. Some Indians and Arabs have certainly picked up what has been achieved by white Europeans in the subject and made discoveries of their own, but they have only been able to do so because white people did all the legwork to lay the foundations of mathematical theory. I invite viewers to look out into the street now and observe the motor vehicles passing by. Perhaps they can also see satellite dishes or telegraph posts carrying wires. Certainly they can see buildings of more than one story. Even buildings with an upstairs were beyond the wit of those living in Australia or sub-Saharan Africa to construct. Why should this be the case? Why is it that all these things have had to be invented in Europe and then taken to Africa and Australia rather than the other way round? As I say, these are unfashionable questions, but unless we ask them, then we are liable to fall into grave error. Unless we are able to explain the fact that white European civilization has created the world in which we live, then there is no point even talking of decolonising this or that subject at a university. If we reject Western civilization, then we are on a very dangerous path indeed, for we are in effect opposing progress and retreating into a fantasy world. We can certainly pretend that black cultures have contributed as much as white European culture to the development of the world, but it is of course sheer nonsense. Abandoning belief and faith in white intellect and white ingenuity will mean turning our back on future scientific progress, because only European mathematicians, scientists and inventors are in a position to provide us with new things and new ideas. If we reject that, then we really will be on the cusp of a new dark age where our progress slows and then either stagnates or even goes into reverse. It is a chilling prospect,